family, y'all. Peace. Peace, peace, peace. Love and light. Peace, y'all. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Peace, peace. Peace, 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 peace. Peace, y'all. Peace, love, and light. Peace and blessings. Let's go with the family. Peace, y'all. Greetings, 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 greetings. Shout out to Vegas. Vegas was amazing. I wanted to just get on here and share some of the information and the inspiration that I was able to bear witness to in Vegas. Yeah, the gold water got you lucid dreaming. I'm actually out here lucid living. I'm amazing. Peace. Yeah. I'm still in beautiful sunny LA. Yes. So I was taught another very valuable lesson over this past strong end, this weekend, or what have you. And it's a repetitive, fuck. Can you hear me? Is my volume still good? Is the volume? Can you hear me? I'm breaking up, but can you hear me? Yes? Okay, you can hear me. Cool. Yes. It's a glitch. Yeah, all right. So, once again, I was taught a very, very, very important lesson in life. You know what I'm saying? And it's a repetitive lesson. And it might be cliche, but it's worth noting because when you learn it, it registers so clear that you want to repeat it. You know what I'm saying? And the lesson that I learned that was a valuable lesson that we could all learn from is never judge a book by its cover. Right? And that might seem like, again, a very cliche message, and we hear it a lot. But we have a tendency, right, especially as human beings, especially as observers, we always make observations and judgments based on what we think it is or what we think we see or who we think we know or what we think that we know about a particular situation, right? So this past strong end in Vegas, I saw Magic Johnson, right? Now, just 3 weeks ago, I was going to write a very judgmental post about some news that had came out about Magic Johnson, and he was speaking about Fauci, right? And I was almost about to be triggered by what this man was online saying to the world in regards to his testimony about what he says the Fauci did for him when he had HIV/AIDS, either or, right? And I'm glad that I didn't make that post, right? But I may have, in the interim of, you know, when did Magic Johnson get AIDS? In the 90s? In the interim of the 90s to now, I may have said some things about Magic Johnson that have been judgmental. You know what I'm saying? I don't know Magic Johnson. I don't know anything about his life. I don't know too much about his journey other than what I, read in the newspapers. And then there's a lot of speculative information circulating around how he got AIDS, whether he had AIDS, if he got rid of AIDS, all of these things that are really none of my business. What I witnessed this weekend, though, was this man he has so much information to share with us as melanated people, right? In particular, young melanated entrepreneurs because, you know, if we don't know his narrative and his story, of course, he excelled in sports, right? He was a jock, feel me? And of course, that career came to a close once it was announced that he had HIV. I remember, you know, even though they used to let him come out and play games, you know, he played in the All-Star after he made the announcement. I remember the players used to be real standoffish, you know what I'm saying, with Magic after they found out that he was positive, right? And he fell back and he started a new career as an entrepreneur. And again, you know, this past Strong In, it was a gathering of mainly entrepreneurs, right? It was mainly melanated entrepreneurs, very innovative, right? Mentally advanced individuals, right? This was not a struggle conference, you know what I'm saying? The majority of people in the building, you know, are business owners or they operate their business, and it was a credit event, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of the family in the building know a little something about credit. They had their credit game intact. So people wasn't, you know what I'm saying, crying that particular song about they ain't got this or they got that. Everybody, you know, for the most part, is dealing with some level of ascension in their business. And he over-delivered, you know what I'm saying? He gave a presentation and he didn't know what he was coming into, he said. But when he got there and he surveyed the room, right? You have to know your room. When he made a full assessment of who was in the audience and what was going on, he decided to over-deliver. He said that he never had the opportunity to speak to melanated entrepreneurs of this particular demographic and age group. He never had the opportunity to get in front of them and tell them some of the things that he's been holding on to in terms of gems that pertain to people in business. He never had that opportunity until last Saturday. So he over-delivered, you know what I'm saying? He poured it all out. Anything that he felt was of value to offer us in terms of business advice, he did that. You feel me? And I was surprised and I was shocked. And again, it was a reminder to myself that you're never supposed to judge. You don't know who's who and what's what. And I had this conversation with a friend not too long ago, and I was like, yo, and this happened after the Steve Harvey build on EYL, when he over-delivered and he opened up his cachet of information, his cachet of consciousness, and he spilled on melanated people. He gave us more than, you know, he gave us more than he had to. You know what I'm saying? He really put it all on the line and put it all on the table. And Magic Johnson did the same thing. And you know, this is somebody that I would not expect that from. You know what I'm saying? But the brother gave a lot of valuable information. And one of the main things that he spoke about is the importance of knowing your customer, right? In the Web3 world, that's known as KYC, right? You got to know your customer. But in the business world, especially when you are dealing with competitive capitalism, right? And competitive capitalism is a corporation might come into your community, right? And they just come there to do business. They're not catering to the customs of the community. They're not catering to, you know, whatever makes that particular community unique. Yes, they're not making observations of the analytics of their particular demographics to specifically cater to them, right? With the hopes of saying, if I speak directly to you, you're going to feel not only important, but you're going to feel like somebody took time with you. You know what I mean? And he used Starbucks as an example. You know, Starbucks as a corporation, as a conglomerate, as a franchise, they just had a very cookie cutter pattern on the way that they did things across the board. They also didn't think that melanated people were a populace that they could sell coffee to, right? And they wanted to sell scones, and they had like the CD 101.9 music playing in the store. You feel me? And he brought the owner of Starbucks to his Magic Johnson Theater. And he said that the weekend that he brought him there, it was the release of Waiting to Exhale, right? So it was melanated women there, you know, in the hundreds online waiting for this particular movie. And the owner of Starbucks got to see the quote-unquote culture for the first time, right? Because, again, these people don't have access, right? They're operating off of a lie told to them about you, and you operating off of a lie told to you about them, right? We don't know one another. We're all operating off of speculation, what we think we know about one another. You know what I'm saying? And some of us, what we think we know about each other or ourselves, you know? So he said that he just had to keep the CEO there for 20 to 30 minutes. And he observed that we are a totally different demographic, if you will, right? We have totally different buying habits. We have totally different proclivities, the way that we communicate. You know, people was talking to the movie screen like the movie screen, Angela Bassett was going to talk back to them. Shit like that. So he gave him the permission to do things that were specific to his audience. I think that he brought in a different type of pastry. He took the scones out. He brought in the pumpkin bread. He changed the music. You know what I'm saying? And he started doing poetry and spoken word and open mic in his venues. And then he allowed the brothers outside. When he brought it to Harlem, he allowed them to stay outside and play chess. And he kept the venue open later. You know what I'm saying? Then he spoke about the alterations that he did when he opened Burger King. Then he talked about the alterations that he did when he opened the movie theater. And he had to change out and switch out, knowing his customer. He knew that we like to eat in the movie theater as opposed to eating before the movie and then going to the movies. That's not what we do. We want to go to the movie and eat. So, and I say all that, again, don't get judgmental because I mentioned Burger King. Don't get judgmental because I mentioned Starbucks. You could replace that with whatever business that you in. You could replace that with whatever it is that you're offering. This happened to be his business model, right? And this is how he connected with his clientele, by knowing his customer. So that's the point of the conversation. You know, the moral of the story is more so that, especially if you're in business. You know what I'm saying? It's important to know your customers. It's important to make sure that things are customized specifically because the customer's always right, and you want to make your customer super comfortable, right? You want to cater to your customer. The customer's always going to come back when it's an experience. I could buy the same thing, you feel me, from somebody that's selling it next door, but if I went into that spot, you know, and they made it a more comforting, customizable, personable situation, that's probably the business I'm going to go back to when I got to make my decision, as opposed to the one where I just bought something and there was no interaction whatsoever. You know, there was no customized greetings. People wasn't looking at you in the face. It was just a financial exchange. You know what I'm saying? So he shared a lot. I think I have a clip, and, you know, if you don't mind, I want to go into it because, again, it's important. We don't normally get to see melanated men speak like this. You feel me? And take time and go into their mental cachet, you know, and open that particular, that space up. Especially if there's no considerable exchange of currency being taking place, because it costs a whole lot of bread, you feel me, to get inside of their heads. Pause. Let me see. And it was a plethora. It was so many dope presenters. It was so much information, inspirational information that was being shared by our young brothers and sisters who, to their credit, right? And they're in the credit space, but to their credit, they have figured some things out in this matrix, right? Yeah, they may not be, a totally sovereign and, outside of the system. They might be pretty much playing the system, they might be playing the game for what it is, but they figured some things out, in order to excel in the game in which they're playing or quote unquote engaging in. You could choose to play whatever game that you choose to play. My question to you is, are you winning at the game that you're playing? Have you mastered the game? Have you figured some things out? Because it's all a game. Right? So let me see.
Funnel building space, like people who have built funnels that have made millions of dollars, written sales letters that have done millions of dollars. And
another heavy
people in the legal space keep you from getting sued and all your money taken from you as soon as you make some. That's real. There are people out there who make a living suing people.
That's not Magic
right?
Johnson.
And so we've assembled on our team to coach you, like the attorney who's the attorney of one of the largest organizations in the United States, and she's on our team. So we've really put some good stuff together for you. But what I'm going to do right now is, and I'm going to tell you the price. And what's amazing is it's not because I have some special superpower. I mean, I do. But so do you. The difference is I learned how to tap into mine. Have you already learned how to tap into yours? Say, I am? Well, that's what I'm going to show you. So you're going to have to listen clearly and listen quickly. And then I'm going to select some people to work with. I haven't decided how many, but I'm going to select some people to work with. And just to give you an idea of what that means. And what's amazing is it's not because, bruh, take your ego out of things. Okay? Now,
there you go.
we got to have the ego when we do what we do. I got one myself. But when you're talking about business, sometimes you got to leave the ego in the car or at the crib, and then go get this knowledge, and then get the ego back. See, I'm still learning even today. I don't pretend that I know it all. So when somebody comes, one of you come, a sister comes and say, hey, I'm going to drop this knowledge on you. Huh? I'm going for that knowledge so I can put it into my business. Okay? So make sure, brothers, we got to be who we are. We got to be a man. We got to do all that. But at the same time, admit to ourselves when we don't know something. And then go out and get that information. And then this is the thing I want you to do that I did with Cookie. I said, look, honey, I need 3 years. I just need you to hold it down for 3 years. Because I'm going to get on this road and I'm going to make it happen for us. So can you handle the kids? Just give me 3 years. And then we going to benefit. What happened in 3 years? Everything that I ever wanted happened. And now the queen is sitting back and do what she want to do. But you need to talk to your wife or your girlfriend and say, this is what we're doing. So she can buy into it and she can be a part of it. See, don't go, I'm going to do my own thing. No. It don't work like that. Because if the crib is not good, you're not good. No matter how tough plan you are. If the crib not good, your mind not right. So say, hey, honey, come on. This time, I got to do it. You got to ride with me. Okay? All right. That's what I want to tell the brothers out here. Very important. Very important. And I see you doing it. Yeah. Because I'm going to get on this road and I'm going to make it happen for us.
He shared in a little bit of time, right? In a little bit of time, he gave us 3 fundamental gems that need to be reiterated. Now, if you probably heard this before somewhere, granted, you know what I'm saying, you ahead of the game. But let me repeat it for the people, you know what I'm saying, who need to hear it. Repeat it, because I'm saying it, I'm repeating it so I can hear myself repeat it. He said, leave the ego at home, right? He said, leave the ego at home. He said, give yourself a 3-year plan, right? Make sure that whatever it is that you're focusing on, you give yourself a 3-year plan. You feel me? So that's 36 months. And then he said what? He said if home is not taken care of, meaning that if you're not patching in this particular plan with your whiz and y'all are working as a team, because you need her to hold things down at home while you hit the road and press the pavement and grind to make things happen. Let me put this in perspective. Right? Look, you able to catch one live. That's my homegirl. She always popping in the rooms or what have you. Did we know that Biggie Small, right? His entire run was only 3 years, right? That'll put in perspective what a 3-year run looks like. What's up? How are you?
I heard you and I was like, what's that old? I didn't really...
That's right.
What the fuck? What's going on? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm
saw
on live.
You. And okay.
That's all good.
What's up?
You gonna be here, right?
Yeah.
I'm here. All right. Yes. So 3 years, right? We take for granted what 3 years feels like. So this is 2022. 3 years would have been 2019. That wasn't that long ago. Yeah, it was before COVID. You know what I'm saying? So it might seem like a stretch. But I just came from Vegas, and the last time I was out there was 2019. And when I got there, it felt like I was just there yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So it's not as expansive and as long as it thinks, right? And then it might be something that's a lot easier to do because not too many of us have 5-year plans. Not too many of us have 10-year plans. Not too many of us have 100-year plans, right? So something that's a 3-year plan is feasible and is doable. You know what I'm saying? You can create a magnanimous plan in your mind and be like, yo, in 3 years, this is where I'm going to be at, and I'm going to be on top of the world in these 3 years. I remember I interviewed RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan, right? And RZA told me, he said, originally, he said he had asked his members for 3 years, right? And this agreement that they had was this one took a lot of sacrifice because they were speaking about splitting the bag down the middle for 3 years. So he wanted them to commit to putting all of the money back in the pot, and they would be breaking down, like, let's say ODB signed, right? Some of the money that he signed for was going back in the pot. Let's say that Method Man signed to Def Jam. Some of that money that he signed, it go back in the pot, and that money gets distributed to all of the members. So he asked them originally for 3 years. After 2 years, he realized he was going to need 5 years. You feel me? And then when he was getting to 5 years, he realized that he was going to need 7 years, and by then it had already fell on apart because they didn't make it past the 3-year mark, consecrated, right, and tightened together because people was watching one another's pockets. I think when ODB signed, right, either when Method Man signed to Def Jam or ODB signed to Elektra, that's when the egos got involved and things fell apart because they no longer wanted to fall back and be like, yo, I'm not going to touch the bread. I'm going to put the bread in the pot. They started taking the bread out. You know what I'm saying? And then he started falling to pieces in regards to knowing that his plan was not going to come into the fullness of his fruition. He had underestimated himself. You know what I'm saying? He underestimated himself. And now, you know, we look at the status of that particular group. I think that they're 25 years in, but imagine if they had stayed with their plan from 5 years to 7 years. you feel me, they would have still been maybe, you know, for the most part, on top of the game. You know what I'm saying? So a 3-year window is not a lot to ask. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're grinding. What did he say? He said that he was able to grind for 3 years and then his lady don't got to work no more. She ain't even got to think about it. And their goal originally was to plot. He wanted to buy a plane. That's where he laid the 3-year grind out, because he wanted to buy a plane, and they bought a plane, and, you know, and that's, you know, that was their goals. Your goals are something different. Don't compare yourselves to what it is that they was doing. He set a goal. He set an intention. You know what I'm saying? And he created a trajectory in order to get there. And ultimately, he knocked it down. You feel me? And just because it was Magic Johnson, do not say, he did it because it was Magic. You know, why don't you see yourself as magical? Right? What is it about yourself that you look at and see that you saying, I'm not capable of magic? Because he didn't wave a magic wand and do it. He still had to do physical work like any other man had to do. Right? Just because his name was Magic and he got a 32 on his back does not guarantee him access to all of his dreams and aspirations. He actually had to get out here and grind. You know what I'm saying? Because he was in a new industry. Yeah, his name held weight. Right? But he's not known to be, you know, a business owner. So he has to gain the respect. You know what I'm saying? In that particular paradigm, for them to say, oh, you know, this guy, he's a championship on this court as well. You feel me? And he was not able to do that again without the cooperation of his wife. Now think about the dynamics of that. You know, this is a man who people say had a very promiscuous, you know, career or what have you. And he contracted a disease and brought it home. And the wife did not contract it. She had the child. And she remained with him. Right? And held him down even to the point where she still was able to support his dreams and aspirations. Right? And he was able to deliver. Right? And not just deliver, but over-deliver. So let me see if I can get into another clip of his. Again, very, very inspirational. And for me, it was a watershed moment because it reminded me again, you know, to do not judge a book by its cover. And you can't possibly know somebody's entire narrative. Especially when, you know, you're still trying to figure yours out.
In the finals. And it shows the competitiveness that you have and that you also have to carry your business. How does that affect your business, that competitive edge when you went into corporate America and started getting the business? Well, let me first tap in that word you just said, that you wanted to be the best. See, you're not going to settle for just anything. It's got to be best in class and excellence. If you're about those things, then you're going to have a successful business. So remember that. It's all about being the best. So yeah, I am competitive. I'm competitive as hell. I like to win at everything. My wife still get mad at me, right? Because I don't care if we're playing big wins, we're playing spades. I don't care what I'm doing, checkers. I don't care, you know. I want to win. So my wife tell me to play my daughter one-on-one. She was a point guard in high school. And I said, no, I don't want to play my daughter. I know who I am. So when your wife tells you to do something twice, you better get to it. Right? So she said, well, your daughter. I said, all right, we're going to go to 10. Marcus, I'll never get to 9. That was hard for me to do, but I'll never get to 9. And then I crushed her. You know, because I got to win. And so if you're going to get into business, ladies and gentlemen, you got to have a winning mindset and a winning attitude. You have to be a competitor because guess what? You're going to have competition. You're going to have other competitors trying to knock you off.
again, you know, he's speaking about his competitive spirit. You know what I'm saying? And his competitive spirit is something that he brought from the world of sports and basketball into business, right? I don't think that he was just a competitive basketball player. No, he has a competitive spirit. So anything that you do, you're going to be competitive in it. You know what I'm saying? So anybody in the audience, do you have a competitive spirit in anything that you do? Is there any aspect of your life where you can identify to say that I'm a competitor? You know what I'm saying? I like to win. Then I would more so say that, you know, entrepreneurialism might be something that's for you. But if you do not have a competitive spirit, if you're not willing to do whatever it takes to win, and I'm not speaking about doing something unscrupulous, you know, then you might have more of an energy as an employee, and there's nothing wrong with that. Let's not make a dichotomy where we're saying, yo, the quote unquote people that are successful, you only have to be an entrepreneur. No. You can work in tandem with somebody. You can be the miracle worker on somebody's team. You know what I'm saying? So just know what your strengths and your powers are, and what your particular, you know, your type, your approach is, to be like, yo, I'm more of the worker, right? I'm emotional. You know what I'm saying? I can't be too competitive because I don't want to crush people. You know what I'm saying? Then you probably would do best, you know what I'm saying, in a particular position. You feel me? But somebody like, you know, these high stakes competitors, these guys that, you feel me, compete on a whole nother level, you know, these are character traits that you're gonna continuously hear with people on these upper tier levels that have gained success in multiple fields. You know, like this is all they've been doing. They've been doing it since they was children. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's still something that I don't have a concrete answer to. You know, can competitive entrepreneurialism be taught? You know what I'm saying? I have a tendency to think so. So let me go into this next brother. This brother is dynamic. I just observed this brother the other day. I didn't know about him prior, but he's a millionaire maker. He has a story, and his story is he went from the trash man to the cash man. So this brother here is extremely successful. Before I get into that though, let me just give you a real quick clip of Mike Tyson when he showed up. Now, y'all are going to see this episode. That was Drink Champs. They interviewed Mike Tyson live at the event. I used to work with Mike, so I already know what type of mind Mike has. You know what I'm saying? I already know what type of mind. Mike is a genius. You feel me? Mike is a genius. And Mike is way deeper than people would even believe he is. You feel me? And you're going to see that in this interview. And again, shout out to Nori. This is not a judgment call, right? This is not a judgment call, but right? There's two different type of hoodlums in New York. There's an intelligent hoodlum, right? And then you got the short bus niggas, right? And it was almost a prerequisite in the streets of New York. If you were going to be competitive in the streets of New York, and you wanted to attain some level of longevity, now this is a gift and a curse. We would say, yo, the people who was intelligent hoodlums have lasted longer. But then some of the short bus hoodlums are still around because the smart dudes was too smart, right? And they took them out. But Noriega's a short bus hoodlum, right? So this nigga's mad ignorant. You feel me? He can't even help it. He can't even help it. It's just some New York shit. He's just He's just short. He's just short, but it's he's just short busted. He can't do nothing with him. So anytime somebody comes on Drink Champ and tries to get deep, anytime somebody tries to go on a consciousness bag and go back and look at the Kanye, go back and look at every time somebody came on Drink Champ and was attempting to go into their higher intellectual bag. You feel me? Nori, it's like they hit a switch and he go retard immediately, right? He will not let you build Crystal Palaces on Drink Champ. He gonna knock it down every single time. You feel me? So yes, he's a yellow bus rapper. We all know that. If you're from New York, right? And if you've been locked up with him, you know that he's a short bus rapper, right? So you're gonna like how Mike was able to shut all that shit down. And he built Crystal Palaces on that stage. Feel me? Mike went in on that interview. Mike went in and he was dropping only gems. He was not there for nigga time. And Nori was trying to pull him into, a whole different the madness of the nigga verse. And he was not there for that. He was not there for that. He was like, look, let me take advantage of this audience and give them this motherfucking gemstones that I got for them. And that's what Mike did. Y'all gonna see that. You feel me? Y'all gonna see Mike in rare form. Shout out to my brother Mike Tyson. Right? A humble spirit. We're speaking about that Bufu. Right? He said anytime he drink, he end up in handcuffs. He know the alcohol ain't for him. All right, so I'm gonna go to the elder real quick.
Multiply the two numbers. 5 times 2 is 10. And then you just count the zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3.
He giving that formula up.
Congratulations. You just made $1 million. And see, as soon as I show this to somebody, you know the first line is?
Right.
You haven't had yourself 50,000. You haven't.
Look, he's normalizing how easy it is to make $1 million.
Let's start on the first base. How do I write a book? How do I create a product that makes me $20 profit? Why don't we start there? Because even if you don't sell 50,000 of them, if you sell 5, you made $100. If you sell 50, you made 1,000. If you sell 500, you made 10,000. If you sell 5,000, you made 100,000. Like, why don't we start at the beginning instead of using the middle to excuse ourselves at the beginning? I mean, okay. So, here's what's really cool. By the way,
Yeah.
all this is 5th grade
Myron
math, right?
Golden, this is
Everybody
not Mike.
say 5th grade. So here's another cool 5th grade math trick I learned. When you're multiplying two numbers that end in 0, because you're multiplying the two numbers and then counting the zeros, if you move the number off the 0 off the back of that number, put it on the back of that number, the answer stays, the number stays the same. Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me, if I create a $200 product, a product makes me $200 profit, instead of $20 profit, I do 1/10 of the work and make the same money? Yes. By the way, what was the first thing I shared with y'all when I came out of here this morning? It's easier to make a lot of money in a short period of time than it is to make a little money over a long period of time.
You heard?
So all you gotta do, here's what's really cool about a $20 product and a $200 product. It's easy to create and it's easy to sell. Let's go, baby. So as soon as I moved that 0, what I did was I hired a minister and I hired a lawyer and I hired a scientist. I wanted to see if there were any spiritual laws, any municipal laws, any scientific laws against moving zeros. They said, no, you move as many as you want. I said, well, let me move another one. What happens when I create a $2,000 home study course?
Myron Golden, right? Myron Golden. If you need to see somebody that looks like you taking the spookism out of it, right? Myron Golden. Google him. And again, this don't just have to be for you to make a financial come up, right? This is not just for you going because you want to create some M's out of thin air. It's a formula for success. You feel me? It's formulaic. And it can help you break out of any level of financial insecurity that you might be in, because that very well might be the thing that's blocking you from manifestation, period, in life, right? Your financial insecurities. Now, you might not be in it for 7 figures or 8 figures or whatever, but you need to address and take a self-audit to say, do I have any financial insecurities? Am I intimidated by numbers because I think that I'm bad at math? You know what I'm saying? Or do you feel like you're just not worth it? You know what I'm saying? Do you like, oh, $1 million is intimidating. I ain't worth $1 million. Nigga, you a trillionaire, right? What the hell is $1 million? You feel me? What the hell is $1 million? Right? You are a trillionaire. Okay? Yes. The relationship with finances is connected to all of your relationships, because the relationships to finances is rooted in the root chakra, right? It's tied into the home. It's tied into the homeland, right? And it's tied into your concept of God, right? That particular earning potential that you have. And then if you throw that off, then it's going to affect your sacral, and it's definitely going to affect your solar plexus. So melanated men in particular, right, cannot access their willpower or their sun within, because they're dealing with financial insecurities and a chakra system that's going like this because of those insecurities that have been instilled from a young age based on their home experiences, right? Poverty can cripple you. Poverty can cripple you because you start believing now in lack, right? And you start shriveling up as opposed to being expansive. You dig what I'm saying? So let's not pretend like these are not real things. If you operate with the formula in your mind, it's going to eradicate you from being insecure. You're like, I got to create something for 20 and sell X amount of them. Cool. Game time. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got to create something for 200 and sell it X amount of time. Cool. Game time. Right? I have a trajectory. I have a roadmap in my mind. I have a goal at hand. You know what I'm saying? If you're fixated on that particular goal at hand, if your mind's eye is only seeing that particular, picture, the embossing of that picture, you're not even going to think about them traumas. But the traumas very well may be instilled at a subconscious level, so you have to do the necessary work, right, to overcome those particular traumas. You got to move through them chakras and see which ones have an obstruction in them. And that's the things that you have to focus and work on. So when these portals come around, like these new moons, this powerful new moon that just hit us, you know where you need to do your shadow work. You know where you need to sit with yourself. When you write your incantations and your invocations, you know what you need to specify and work on. You know what I'm saying? And this makes your journey personal. This makes what it is that you need. This is your food. Not what somebody else is doing. We're not gauging their success. We're not counting their pockets, right? We're saying, what part of me needs work, right? So I can be operating at my fullest potential. I could be resonating. I could be manifesting. I could be setting examples for people who may be looking at me. feel me? Yeah. Like the self-awareness, like you really have to value yourself. You really have to value yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not going to get no externalized validation. And it's going to be meaningless, because if it's something that excites you or it ignites you, then you're going to be addicted to it. You're going to always need it. You're going to start fiending for it and coveting it. You know what I'm saying? And getting up underneath it. And when you don't have it, you're going to crash. So you have to build it up within yourself. So wherever you go, there you are. And you take whatever you got with you wherever you go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like this particular conference, again, I'm seeing the people amongst us, right? Melanated young people at that. They don't have the conscious, right? We could say that, these people don't got their consciousness all the way down pat. You know what I'm saying? Like, they might not know about Kemet. They might not know about ancient Sumeria. They might not know about the Anunnaki. They might not know about Nibiru. You feel me? But they have figured out how to master the game, the financial game in this particular matrix, right? To a degree where they've been able to achieve a level of quote-unquote success, quote-unquote, right? Because my idea for it might be different from somebody else's. You know, when I was able to speak to them about the importance of health and as it pertains to wealth, they were very receptive. They wanted to know, they wanted more information, and they wanted products, right? Even though whatever their mental disposition was, they were able to magnetize riches to themselves, to at least set a goal for themselves and achieve it. So these people know their minds enough where they know what they're capable of, right? So they can be amongst us some of the most powerful manifestors, right? So we got to take time with our people, right? But I also was seeing people, it's not a judgment, it's an observation. Beautiful, melanated, heavily melanated women. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all seen that video that's going viral of the African sisters that was sitting down with the, what looked like they was French nationals, right? These freakish Europeans, right, who was sitting with them and was telling them how important their DNA was. And people is sharing that video like it's a eureka moment to them. Like, you didn't notice? You didn't notice about Europeans? You didn't notice about these European men in particular? Let me tell you which ones. French, Portuguese, and British. Right? We didn't know about them and how they carry. So these beautiful melanated women, right? And it's to the point where you can't even say who got the surgery no more, because we know that our sisters is naturally very voluptuous, right? So I can't even tell you who got the surgery no more. You know what I'm saying? But it's like these white men at this conference, they was going for the most melanated women, right? And the most melanated women, for whatever reason, they had the longest hair, they had the longest eyelashes, and they had the longest of heels. You know what I'm saying? And they ain't have no rap for brothers like myself, right? But they was up under the white men. They was up under the white men. I mean, and it's almost like I don't even know if they brought them there, because they were showstoppers. They were showstoppers. They had brought the showstoppers with them and shut the shit down. But I'm like, damn, mommy, like, you came here with that to this conference? That's how you wanted to show up and stunt on us? So it's like, yo. And then like, yeah, Zaddy season. It's cities like this, like Los Angeles. When I got here, when I moved here in 2013, I was in a relationship. Shit, let me be transparent. I was in a relationship with a young lady who wasn't 1,000% melanated. She was Brazilian and Mexican, right? She was Brazilian and Mexican, right? And the things that she would tell me about what her quote-unquote melanated male friends used to tell her about their preferences, right? About how they do not fuck with black women, especially, you know, the darker ones, quote-unquote. The way that she told me that these brothers was confiding in her and telling her the shit that they was telling her, I was in disbelief, right? I had to check her like, yo, are you you just saying this? And then I synced it. A heavy melanated woman has no chance in the city of Los Angeles. None. Right? These niggas is different. Right? These niggas is different. So, you ain't jacking certain things until you observe it continuously, repetitively. And then what happens is that these beautiful sisters do not buy into their beauty. Right? And then you see that they may compromise their standards for acceptance, right? Because they stick out like sore thumbs, but they're not being, properly catered to. Like, no one is coveting their beauty the way that it deserves to be. So the European pushes up on them, the Hispanics push up and the Asians push up, but they fetish their beauty. It's not like they're pushing up on them and, oh, queen, X, Y, and Z. That's not really what comes out of that. You know what I'm saying? It becomes a weird situation. At least from my observation, I'm not in the living room or the bedroom with them. Right? I'm just looking at certain things, and then I'm making observations, and then you hear people talk. You feel me? Feel me? So they are hard on sisters out here, right? And I think you're gonna find that wherever the pimp game is strong at, right? They pimp harder on dark-skinned women, right? It's almost like a mandatory suppression of that melanated principle. Like, they pimp hard on them. You feel me? And these women, you can't convince them. You can't convince them of their value and their beauty. Right? You can't. You feel me? It's so like, you got to go through so many layers. Yeah, and then that's the ones that you see on the stroll when you get to Vegas, right? They selling access to the portal to be validated and to be accepted. They like, what we gonna do with all this beauty if nobody sees us? Right? Because they're not gonna be seen and they're not gonna be valued and put in the places that they deserve to be. It's just not happening. And it's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? And you can see the repercussions of it. You know? It's sad. It's upsetting. You feel me? But you know, I'm visiting, y'all. I'm not from this coast, so I'm making my observations. But you know, ultimately, not so much minding my business as much as I am saying, you know, I'm minding my business. You feel me? Yeah, this is a whole nother conversation. Who be with Rick Rubin? Oh, SZA? Damn. Yeah, you know, again, they kind of left with, look, niggas don't want them out here. You feel me? Niggas don't want them. So where they supposed to go, what they supposed to do? Because niggas do not want them out here. Let me tell you, Jack.
What's that you're reading?
Karl Marx?
Surely you're not a communist.
Do I have to be a communist to read Karl Marx?
Rupert, that's a valid answer. Well, if you're not a communist, what are you?
Nothing.
Nothing?
It is like all forms of government.
But somebody must rule.
And I don't like the word rule.
Well, if we don't like the word rule, let's call it leadership.
Leadership in government is political power. And political power is an official form of antagonizing the people.
What magazine did you say he edits? A commentary on current events. Pardon me.
Somebody said, niggas don't want them or they don't want niggas. I can't even get them to say hi to me, my nigga. I'm going to tell you the truth. This is across the board. You know what I'm saying? They be stunting hard. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to get into that conversation because, you know, I don't want to compound on the issue. But yeah, they don't even say hi to the God. You feel me? And I seen that across the board. It's just not a West Coast thing. It's all around the board. You know? I don't know, you know, what the social conditioning does to them to transform them like that. But, you know, I ain't light-skinned enough. I don't know what it is. Like, look. Somebody tell them no. You know what I'm saying? I got good hair. My shit ain't that far from Drake. I got good hair, so could somebody tell some of the Chocolate Sisters to say hi to me? Right? I got good hair. My shit ain't like Drake's, but I got good hair. I'm saying, a defense mechanism. You're not going to respond to me when I say hi, but you run straight down to the European and you kikiing in his face and letting him proposition you at the bar and shit. Oh, nah. Not like that. Nah, baby. I don't be trying to kick it to them. I just be saying hi. See my wife? Not like that. And I'm speaking about through longevity. I ain't saying like yesterday. You know what I'm saying? My wife is in this chat. I didn't mean like that. I'm talking about the duration of time through my observation. Now I don't need a friend. I'm married. Nah. Yeah. Pull up with a poodle on your arm. Thank you. Yeah, I always wanted to get in the game, and I wanted braids, but I'm gonna start with twists. Then I'm gonna work my way to the Iversons. You know what I'm saying? I never thought that I would make it, but I'm here now. You feel me? So yeah, I like the little twists. You know what I'm saying? My shit is holding up. You know? I got little roaches and shit. So in 3 months, they'll probably be all the way out to here. Yeah, thank you. Yo, did they start playing yet? Is Boston and Golden State? Who y'all got? Yeah, who y'all got? Boston or Golden State? But yeah, you know, I don't know what can be done if we can reverse the trend. You know what I'm saying? My whole thing is like this. You know, at the end of the day, I'm able to make an observation to say, right? Brothers, let's just be real, right? We all played those games in the playground. You feel me? We all played those games in the playground. And those games, some of those games was cruel. Some of those games was insensitive. And we didn't even know the damage of those particular games that we were playing. Now, those games that, you know, that we play, right? That were kind of like, you know, we were categorizing girls. You know what I'm saying? And some of us were very cruel to darker skinned women in younger years, right? Especially if we grew up in the 90s off of hip hop. My father would not let me listen to hip hop in the early 90s because of his observation of the videos. He said that they had too many light skinned women, and he felt that there was an agenda in hip. And I'm talking 91, 92. I'm even talking before NWA. My father was looking at hip hop like it was a tool or a vehicle to discredit melanated women. And I used to think that this nigga was crazy, right? Red is in the chat. He'll tell you. I think Red rebelled as a child because of the restrictions that used to go on in my household around music, right? He wouldn't let us watch videos because they only had light-skinned girls as the leads. And then it didn't hit me until I saw Big Daddy Kane, I Work. Now, Big Daddy Kane, I Work was a whole nother, it was like they just started shooting videos in HK, right? And Kane was hot at that time. But Kane popped out with, you know, it looked like the dancers on Living Color. You feel me? And then Living Color popped out with J-Lo. And then my pops, he was like, this is a wrap. I know the agenda. I know what the hell is going on. They keep putting these light-skinned bitches in front of you, right? And it's training you to think that that's the beauty standard, right? These stringy hair, light-skinned women, why they got to be the leads in video, that's not the quote-unquote face of Black America, right? And I used to be like, man, you hating. And then I seen Kane slip and go to Madonna, right? And then it was career over, right? Because she got all of this nigga's magic from him. You feel me? And it just never seemed to change in terms of the videos. And now we get all the way to the point where we got Future and Drake in a video for an amazing song with a melanated artist, Tim. She's an African artist. But then they got a white lead actress that they're both fighting over in medieval times. Right? In medieval times. So when we see how the game has materialized, right? And this particular acculturation, it's called acculturation. And the fact that we went through integration as a society, it was a trade-off, right? The white man is saying because of the TV and because of culture such as R&B and rock and things of that nature, he knew that his daughter was now choosing up on melanated men. The European tried as best as he could, even through intimidation by way of lynching, to keep melanated penis out of white vagina as much as he could. But then he went and passed the Civil Rights Act, right? And it's almost like he said, okay, now there's a fair exchange. You're already coming into my home by way of the TV, right? I got you niggas in my living room and my little daughter's over here choosing. Next thing you know, she's front row at a concert, and after that, she's backstage. Right? Getting the heebie-jeebies. So he's like, this is the trade-off. I can't cut off the TV. Right? I can't cut off the TV. The TV's important. Y'all don't understand how important the TV is. Because there's something called mirror neurons. So if someone can make an observation of something, right? Hence the fact that I'm gonna get back to that. No, let me go. If somebody can make an observation of something, if you see it, you can achieve it, right? So their minds, their psychology was being sexualized by them making observation of melanated men doing particular things on camera that they have never seen before, and either it was waking up something ancestrally in them, or they were remembering the rumors that they overheard their mamas talking about, right? So he knew, right, that she was choosing up. Hence the fact that when the R&B albums was coming out back then, they would mandate, in order to give an artist a deal, they would have to make the artist a white man on the cover. Now, don't believe the hype. They were saying, yo, we was putting white people on the cover because it would make the music more marketable. I'm like, no, they knew that was nigga music. What you talking about? They didn't want their wives in the record stores or their children or their daughters, them albums, right? Fantasizing over these melanated men as least exposure as possible. Remember, he always wants to control the narrative. And the narrative is not just what's being told to you. The narrative is what you're seeing. Because the narrative, I'm looking, I see billboards over there. That's the narrative. Right? Yeah, I see a nigga walking down the street with a dress on. That's a narrative. So he always, by any means, wants to control the narrative. He wants to control access. So he said, I'm willing to integrate, right? Because you already are in my home by way of my living room, by way of the TV. Right? But now give me your woman. Right? I'm going to put her in position. I'm going to put her in my workplace. You feel me? You don't got to worry about swinging from a tree no more. Because that's the only thing that changed during integration, is that black men no longer had to, worry about hanging from trees because they was pushing pee inside of white women. That's the only thing that changed. Show me what else changed. Right? And then the cultural exchange came by way of hip hop. Right? The cultural exchange came by way of hip hop. So here we are today, and we see the latest variation of that particular program, right? That operates through the music. So at this point, we've gotten beat so bad by the industry that we need to demand to know at all times who's the stylists and who's the music directors. Because that's the ones that they keep on blaming. So the stylist is putting dresses on niggas, and the music directors is putting light-skinned women in the leads. Right? So when we want to raise children and we want to put them in the industry so they can have powerful positions and be disruptors, we need to focus on music directors and we need to focus on stylists. Because according to what the artists keep telling us, it's not their fault, right? This music director put the treatment together like that, and the stylist put the niggas in the dress. So those are the areas in the industry that it seems that we must need to disrupt, because these are the things that are responsible for what? Propagating and promoting images. And if nothing else, what we are suffering from as a people, right, is not only identity crisis, right, but we got a brand, right, that's damaged as fuck. Right? So we need to focus on brand damage. We need to focus on brand damage, right? And we need image consultation. Hence the fact everybody was pulling up to listen to Kevin Samuels, because he was an image consultant. And we are suffering from image identity issues. Identity issues, right? And damn sure, you know, a disastrous brand image, you know. The brand is damaged, right? The image is off and the identity is lost. Those are the things that need to be focused on, right? That's why they're running circles around niggas, because of the image and the identity. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Sabi Genesis. So, you know, these should be the things that we need to focus on interrupting, right? We need to rebrand blackness, and we need image consultants, right? The image is important. That's why I say what? I say my wardrobe is war mode, right? My wardrobe is war mode. Wherever the mall goes, I'm challenging stereotypes. My wardrobe is war mode. Wherever the mall goes, I'm challenging the stereotypes. I'm challenging the stereotypes based on what? A perceived image. A perceived image of who I am and what I am based on how I look. Right? So I throw them off. My shit is totally different. They like, oh, we never seen the nigga like you. Right? But then they be like, yo, I never seen a God like you. We heard about y'all, but we never seen you. We only thought that you existed in history books. Shout out to my cousin, Will I Am. They actually told us that in Sedona. There was a European that went all around the world collecting relics. He has one of the top art galleries in Sedona, you know. And he had to call his wife and all of his business partners. And he's like, yo, we never seen the gods in person. We've gone through history looking for y'all, but we never encountered one in person. And that's, you know, our assignment is vast, right? There's a lot of different holes that we have to plug up, but one of the main holes that we have to plug up is the image. You know what I'm saying? The branding by way of the image is one of the main holes that we have to plug up. And it can't just be in, you know, you can't have style and no substance, so it can't just be in style alone. You got to have some substance to back that up. It has to be not on you, but in you. You feel me? So it's not on me, it's in me. I'm saying I'm emitting this energy that says, yeah, Sabi Genesis, right? But that's a demonstration that I'm demonstrating. It's not like somebody is going to pull up on me and ask me something about Sabi and I'm not going to have a particular answer, or I'm not living in accordance to the discipline. Right? I did have some fish the other day. Now look, I do that every now and then. And so did Sabi. And I tell people all the time when I do it. And I asked y'all, what's the vegan probationary period? Is it 6 months? Is it 6 days? Is it 6 weeks? Right? Because I had a little fish the other day. Yeah. Facto. So it got to be on you and it got to be in you, and you have to emanate it. You know what I'm saying? And you cannot be fearful of going wherever you go, wherever your feet take you, and demonstrating. They got to deal with me wherever I am, wherever I am, whenever I am, however I am. You know what I'm saying? I refuse to change for them. They're going to have to deal with it. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. That's right. Y'all can unsubscribe. You know, you have every right to. Sabi ate fish too. I don't know if I'm telling you something that you didn't know. but he did too. Never said he was a vegan. Never did. You know, it wasn't tilapia, right? But again, my people is are very tropical indigenous people. You know what I'm saying? And one of the main memories that I have etched and burned into my memory is that my grandfather, he used to take us to the ocean in St. Croix, and he would pull the fish right out the ocean and grill it right there on the beach and eat it. And my grandfather ate the eyes, the head. He ate everything on that goddamn fish. He might even ate the bones. And that's who my people are. They're fucking islanders, you know what I'm saying? And that's how they do their thing. It's just in my DNA. So when I get around particular regions where I trust, you know, I need to tap into my tradition every now and then. And that's just, you know, that's just something that I do. Hate it or love it, you know, it just is what it is, man. I don't know if I let y'all vegans down and you feeling vegan vindictive. Yeah, so my mother always said it's not what you eat, more so it's about how fast you eliminate. You know what I'm saying? More so the focus is always to have open channels of elimination. That's more important than what you eat. You feel me? If you have open channels of elimination, that's the most important thing that you need to focus on. So you need to make sure that there's 72 hours and under that you are removing, you know, things that you've eaten out of your body, especially things that are considered quote unquote flesh. You know what I'm saying? Elimination is more important than anything. You know, you got to keep your channels of elimination open at all times. Yeah. So yeah, you know, I held it down, you know. I held it down. Explain eliminations. Defecation, going to the bathroom, having a bowel movement at least 2 or 3 a day. That's elimination. Knowing that if you ate any type of flesh that, you know, you had a particular bowel movement, and I don't know if you can detect that bowel movement was you eliminating the flesh, but you, more than anything, even more than what we, you know, I'm not saying more than equally. Let's not do a this or that. Let's do quantum. Let's do both. You focus on what you're eating. You focus on what time you're eating it. And you also focus on tracing and tracking your channels of elimination. Meaning, did I take a shit today? How many did I take? You know what I'm saying? And what did my shit smell like? What did it look like? You know what I'm saying? I make observations of my defecation to know what's going on inside of my body. Now, that's personal. It might be too much information for people. But I'm just sharing you different regimens. Right? Because if you got a consultation from mama, she gonna tell you the same thing. And it's yours. You feel me? If you can't look at it, goddammit, then who can? Again, that lends back to our own personal disposition. If you can't deal with your shit, why you expect other people to? If you can't sit with yourself, why you expect other people to be patient with you? If you don't got time for you, why you expect other people to have time for you? You know what I'm saying? Do unto others as you want done unto yourself, but definitely do unto yourself the way you expect other people to do unto you. So this is considered self-care, right? This is me being my own personal doctor. I'm not going to invite the hospital in to do this shit for me, right? I have to be in control of every aspect and facet of my life. You know what I mean? Every aspect and facet. I cannot relinquish that control to nobody else. So I have to take control. And this is what life management looks like. Yeah, you got to be mindful. These are the gauges that you take. Same way that when you get in that car, you got to check the oil and the water and this and that. It's the same thing about your vessel. Because that food ain't jumping to my mouth. I put it into my mouth. I'm responsible for seeing it come out. From the rooter to the tutor, I'm there for the entire process. Right? Especially if I benefited from the extraction of energy from me eating that food. I also want to wave it goodbye. Thank you. You served me, right? Now you no longer serve me and I eliminate you. That's the same thing that we should be doing to shit that we holding on to far too long in our life. That could be people, that could be situations, that could be principalities, that could be falsehoods, right? It's the same concept. Feel me? And that's why we utilize the power of full moons to extract things, because the force of gravity is even stronger. And you could, my grandfather says, can nobody hold a hot shit? The strongest man in the world can't hold a hot shit, okay? When it's time to go, it's time to go. You feel me? So, I ain't gonna keep y'all too long. I do appreciate it. This bill has been sponsored by Goldwater. I was supposed to do this was my Goldwater Live. Because we're speaking about health. We're just speaking about it, in different aspects and different facets of it. Mental, physical, spiritual, all aspects of health. Yeah, papaya will help you go to the bathroom and remove, one of them long johns, right? Papaya will help you do that. Shout out to papaya. Papaya gets you going. It's natural. It give you a natural movement. One of them long, strong ones. Pause. Yeah, papaya, yeah. Put papaya, I would eat the papaya in the mornings. I would put it in the smoothie with the sea moss, and I would have a good bowel movement. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, you might want to look into papaya. It works. All right. And I appreciate y'all. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to hear what I had to say. I felt that it was imperative to share some of this information. I haven't had the opportunity to post as of lately too much. So, it's good that we get to build like this. You know what I'm saying? Come and check us out. This Strong End will be in the West End of Atlanta at Tassili's at the wonderful Wizards of Raw. Right? So that was an early flyer. I'll be there presenting. Mama Pill will be there presenting. I'm going to whip up some sea moss, and I might even make my cosmic kale, right? But I'm going to bring some food out, for my vegans, right? I'm going to redeem myself. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to make a masterpiece. So I'll see y'all in the building. Tassil, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Tassili's in the West End of Atlanta. We're going to be in the building. All right, it's going to be lit. And I look forward to seeing y'all there. Peace.